No matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, you can take the lid off of your job. And if you're wondering if you still have the lid on in your life, here are some clues that's going to let you know that the lid is still on. If you're not excited about waking up in the morning, if you're sitting around bored out of your mind, if you got time to do everything anybody asks you to do, you probably got the lid on. If when you tell your dreams to all your friends, it makes sense to them, you got your lid on, man. Your dreams should not make sense to everybody. You got to say something that make people go, how you going to do that? That's when you got the lid off. And if I were you, I'd do that. I'd take the lid off. Makes sense to me, don't it? I mean, look, in show business, that's all the time. You could come to work one day and they just say the show is canceled. What can you do? So what I've done is I've produced so much content. I got radio, I write books, I write movies, I do TV shows, I host TV shows, I got a game show, I do a Facebook watch show. I do so many. So when they come and they cancel something, I don't really give a damn, because I got 8 more jobs. You know what I mean? I've just managed to stack. And then I'm always prepared. I prepare for what's coming. Here's the deal. Change is inevitable. So here's what's going to happen. No matter what's going on in your life, it's not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there's 2 things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it. It's going to change anyway. So if you keep waiting around, you're going to have to react to the change. And now you're behind. But if you participate in the change, if you know the job you have is not going to last forever. I'm just telling you. COVID proved that already. Where you go to work at every day, that's going to change. COVID proved that already. Your best laid plans has changed. So what you got to start doing is you got to start anticipating that it's going to change and just start living your life with the preparation for change. No matter what you're doing, you could be doing more. Remember that. It's 24 hours in a day. You got to use as many of those hours to prepare stability for yourself as you can. I said it online, I got in a lot of trouble. If you sleep 8 hours, you're not ever going to be rich. If you have any dreams of being rich, you cannot sleep 8 hours a day. It's only 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 8 hours, that's a third of your life. How can you cannot be asleep a third of your life and become successful. You can't. People got mad at me. They're talking about Steve Harvey prefers wealth over health. No, I'm just telling you, if your ass wants to hit it and be rich, you got to quit bullshit. You got to get your hustle and grind on. You can't sleep well, how much you sleep? I sleep between 4 and 5 hours. If I get 6 hours, woof, I'm tired. Plus I'm old. I got to get up. I want to see what today is. I can't miss nothing. Now, I'm old, man. I'm 64 years old, so I can't be laying in the bed waiting. I got to get up early. I'm up for the sun come up every day because I just want to see what else God got for me. He done gave me a lot. Might as well go see the rest of it, right? You can't see or sleep. So I've always prepared myself for what this business is. And for the first time, I've actually thought about retiring. This is the first time I've ever thought about retiring. So now I want to come home. I'm coming to Africa. The one thing that I have learned to relate to all of my children is to dream. There is nothing bigger than your dream. Nothing is greater than your dream. Now, as we sit in this great educational institution, I am not saying that your education is not important because it's tied to a lot of your dreams. But let me tell you something. There ain't nothing bigger than your dream. Because your dream will propel you to get the education. Don't you ever stop dreaming. Don't you ever stop imagining. And we're going to talk about them two things a lot. But don't you ever stop dreaming. Your Bible says a man without a dream or a vision shall perish. That's in your Bible. It ain't just in the one I read. Nowhere in there does it say without an education you perish. But it says without a dream or vision you perish. So if what you're dreaming about requires an education, it is then your dream that propels you to get the education. But the dream is bigger than anything, man. See, if it was an education that caused you to be greater successful, I ain't here today because I don't have one of them. But nobody could outdream me. Your dream is everything, man. It's the biggest part of your life. Look, man, it is that thing that God puts in you that don't let you sleep sometimes. It's your dream. It's that thing, that part of you, man, that wakes you up and stirs the very pit of your soul. I've always taught my children to dream. The secret, though, the secret to real success is if you tie your gift to the dream.
Whatever position you find yourself in today, we put ourselves there by a series of thoughts and actions. Thoughts turn into things. That's very important to know. So let's look at both sides of it. For people who think negative thoughts, it turns into negative things. And the direct opposite is true for those who think positive thoughts. It turns into positive things. That's the deal. It's as simple as that, folks. Thoughts become things. So the one glaring question for all of us always is, on a daily basis, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Because this is a fact of life. This is biblical. This is spiritual. This is written. This is philosophical. This is the law of the universe. This is just the way it is. Now, and here the cold part, folks. It don't matter if you believe me or not. It does not matter if you have never been explained this or not. And it does not matter if you think it works in your life or not. It don't matter. Listen to me. It is the way it is. It's just whatever. It's the law of the universe. You call whatever you want to call. However you got to dress this thing up, because this all it is. So when I say that you are where we are today, because we thought ourselves here, oh, you best to believe that's true. You thought yourself here. No one else. See, let me explain something. I got people around me who so badly want to take credit for it.
Every man in this room, you blew your 20s. You spend all your 30s trying to make up for your 20s.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Dog, every dude in this room blew their 20s and at 30 trying to fix what they should have did in their 20s.
Yeah.
And so forth and so on. You turn 40, you're trying to recover from the mistakes you made when you're 30. Now at 40, man, it's time for you to start. Really, at 30, you need to start buckling it on down. And just realize, man, everybody make mistakes. And if the mistakes you're going through are going to help you become the person you need to be later on.
Steve Harvey.
All them mistakes, dog, they cool to make.
Yeah.
I needed to mess up every marriage. I needed to get arrested like I did.
Yeah.
I needed to get shot. I needed all this, dog. I needed to be homeless. Yeah. I needed all them things to happen to turn me into who I am today. So when you're young and you make mistakes, don't let them eat you up. Because everybody that done made it, done made them.
Yeah.
You got to fail in order to win. Hey, look, man, to understand how to hit the game-winning shot, you got to miss the game-winning shot. First of all, you're talking about stuff that I can relate to like so many others can relate to. I mean, you know, everybody got the same story. We just got different details. But like I always say, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. See, we're going to dive into a chapter from my new book, and it's chapter 1, section 1. This is very clear for people. So the first step is getting completely and brutally honest enough to say, I am tired of myself. When you say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's the facilitator of change. That's when you're ready to say these words, no more excuses. No more excuses. I went to Kent State, I dropped out. I didn't drop out, I flunked out. Now that threw my life into a spiral, but because I didn't have a college degree, I could not let that stop me. And like you're doing, where you're saying, all my friends at this age are settling in your careers, you don't even know if they're happy or not. Stop comparing yourself to others. So the first thing you do is stop focusing on other people. Instead, focus on being the best version of you that you can. Then you'll recognize that you deserve to sit at the big table with everybody else after you become the best that you can be. Now, once you've accepted that you have as much right to success and much right to succeed as anybody else, the next step is learning how to talk the talk. You have to get fluid in the language of success so you speak it with ease. Surround yourself with people who've accomplished their dreams and immerse yourself in the culture of achievement. You know, you got to be tough because the road to success is always under construction. It's never a clear path to success. The people who become successful are the people who have a relentless attitude. And you just got to hang in there through the bad breaks, because the bad breaks is coming. But they usually come right before the big break is about to happen. You get a series of bad breaks and it stumbles up a lot of people. My life and my success is to say to anyone, you can stumble, you can fall, you can get back up again. And like I've said before, we each have a gift. But too many people miss out because they refuse to sign the lease on their gift. You keep looking for it outside of you. Stop. Sit with yourself. What is it that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort? That's your gift. But if you are constantly looking outside of yourself and you don't latch on to your gift, you will never find your purpose. If you want to succeed, you must commit to your own gift and embrace it.
Well, same advice I give to my kids, man. If I could get them to understand the importance of their 20s. Because, man, you know what I did? I just blew my 20s. I ended up spending all of my 30s fixing what I messed up in my 30s. And I spent all of my 40s doing what I could have been doing in my 30s. I looked up, man, I had let too much time slip away. If you could get young people to get their foot on the gas pedal in their 20s, because right now they think going out is everything. And I keep telling them, man, you're gonna outgrow that in a minute. Because, you know, like at this age, it's when somebody says, hey, we're gonna go out to a club tonight. What? Go out to a club? Are you kidding me? It don't make no sense to you, man, because you're over that. But it takes a minute for them to understand it. It's sad. I wish they'd get it. I wasn't clubbing in my 20s. It just, I didn't know how to make a vision board. I didn't know how to. What really changed my life, man, was I got in Amway when I was about 24. I got in Amway. And that changed my life, man, because the first time ever, they introduced me to self-help books. And I read 2 books that changed my life. It was The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale and The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. I read them books and it changed my life. But it also made me remember what my mother had taught me, because she was a Sunday school teacher, because all self-help books are Bible-based. Everything comes from the Bible. All of the self-help books, that's Proverbs. That's all it is. A book of wisdom and understanding. If you could read that, it'll change your life too. Sometimes you need regular books where you can relate to it differently. But it's all comes from the Bible. It's like a great book is The Secret. If you read The Secret, it's all Bible verses. It's based on the Bible. You can't think of nothing new how to tell a person to succeed without the Bible. You can't. It doesn't work that way, you know. So a couple of books changed my life. The Magic of Thinking Big was huge. It just taught me one simple principle. It don't cost no more energy to think big than it does small. You can say Volkswagen and you can say Rolls Royce with the same amount of effort. You ain't got the grunt to say Rolls Royce. So if the Bible is true, which it says a man is as he thinketh, if you think poor thoughts, you got to be poor. The moment you change that thought into wealth of riches, you start the process to becoming wealthy or rich. It's not a math trick. It's really how it works. People complicate it. You got to do this and you got to do that. But the Bible's pretty plain. They ain't got no loopholes in it. Really don't. It's just real simple. It say what it say. All you got to do is believe it's talking to you. That's what it is. Most people don't think that God is talking to them. that I come to give you life and give you life more abundantly. You don't think he talking to you? He'll give you life more abundantly. He do. He really will. You ain't got to be rich to have an abundant life. Sometimes you just need to be healthy, happy. You know, you could be really happy, man, making $70,000 a year. You really, really can. You don't need a few million. I did, but you didn't need a few. It helped me a little bit. But to be honest, it didn't make me happy. Until you need God. I ain't ministers. Just tell you up the head, just you go to church and hear you. Come on, Father. Pass my off and say, if you don't believe me, you need that. But I can take a sentence or a thought and make it common. Now, one dude told me once, yeah, well, I hear you said it was hard, but you ain't funny to me. I ain't got to be funny to you. You've never bought a ticket to see me. No, I haven't. I still made it. It doesn't matter what nobody else thinks. What they got to do? I don't think you're funny. Listen, let me tell you something. If you can think of something to get $10 for, I bet all of you have something that God has gifted you with that you could convince somebody to give you $10. I'm going to show you how to become a millionaire. All you need is to have one thing that you can get $10 for. I don't care if it's cutting hair, cutting grass, painting, babysitting, typing papers, walking dogs. I don't care what it is. Just get somebody to give you $10. All I want you to do is do it and get $10. After you get $10, I want you to do it 10 more times. That's all. You have $100. When you get that $100, whatever you did to get the $100, I want you to do it 10 more times. You're going to have $1,000. Now, get a little tricky. Whatever you did to make the $1,000, listen to me close. What I want you to do is do it 10 more times. That's what I want you to do. Don't change shit. Just do it 10 more times. You'll now have $10,000. Now, there's where you got to start using your thing. After you make $10,000 with this $10 idea, all I want you to do is do it 10 more times. Just 10, whatever you did to make the 10,000, do it 10 more times. You're going to have $100,000. Here's the trick of tricks. Once you make $100,000, you're going to have to hire a few people. All I want you to do after you make the $100,000, same thing you did to make the $100,000, I just want you to do 10. Congratulations. You are a millionaire. That's how it's done. These jokes I'm telling right now, these $25 jokes. My first gig paid me $25. These the same jokes. This just English. I ain't learned how to do this in Spanish or none of this. I just kept telling these jokes in English. 10 more times, 10 more times, 10 more. Till they started paying me $25,000 a night. Then they started paying me $100,000 a night, $150,000, $250,000 a night. I made $500,000 telling jokes in one night. They're the same jokes. I just kept telling them over and over and over and over and over. $25 jokes repeated on a 10-time multiple. You could be a millionaire babysitting. You could be a millionaire doing eyebrows. You could be a millionaire cutting grass. You could be a millionaire as a barber, painting houses. You already have the gift. God has already given you the gift. He gave it to you at birth. You was born with it. God ain't never created a soul he didn't give a birth to. That he didn't give a gift to at birth. You sitting up in here, if you're poor today, it's because you tripping. You just tripping. You done talked yourself out your God-given gift. You done got some funk job somewhere and tried to act like you was happy with it. Now they done furloughed you, now you disappointed. You ought to be jumping for joy. Walk your up the hall, go take your gift God gave you and turn yourself into a millionaire.
Making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make. Learning those things that you don't like to do. But you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right. I cooperate. Okay, I learned. Okay. It had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas. Unquestionably, you've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time, had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams? Good. And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show.
You can't quit now. And the only way out is through.
I hope you know that our world wants to put some labels on you. Our world wants to try and tell you who you are. But you can't listen to the world. You can't have a faith that's dictated by the world. You got to have a faith that dictates this world. The enemy's going to try to label you. You're a loser. You're a failure. Your past is too big. But you better know who you are.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
You need to hear this loud and clear. You need to get this in your spirit, because I don't know what you're walking through, but some of you right now, you are in a tough season. An event has happened and something's happened, and maybe you have failed. But I want to remind you that failure is not final, it's formative. It is part of the process. It's part of the journey. Your failure matters as much as your success. How do you think you're going to grow if you don't ever fail? Yet some of you have failed and you have decided, well, guess what? I'm a failure. No, failure is an event. It is never a person. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're a failure. In fact, failure is actually fuel for your future. You have to fail in order to succeed. The darker the night, the brighter the morning. This too shall pass. You're going to get through this thing.
So don't stress out about it, and don't you dare turn around and go back home.
Don't back down from the pressure. Get back up. Don't quit. Keep the faith. Move forward. Never, never, never give up.
You are not a victim.
So stop talking like it. Stop acting like it. It's your trial. It's your tribulation that's going to get you out your comfort zone. It's your trial. It's your tribulation that's going to take you to the next level. So listen to me. It ain't no shame in thinking about quitting. It ain't no shame. It ain't no shame in getting tired. It's no shame in feeling burnt out. It's no shame. But the trick is, say to yourself, I got to rethink it and get this thought out of my mind. Why? Because the shame is in quitting. So if you thought about it, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But whatever you do, don't let that thought become a reality.
Ring the bell, and you no longer have to wake up at 5 o'clock. Ring the bell, and you no longer have to be in the freezing cold swims. Ring the bell, and you no longer have to do the runs, the obstacle course, the PT, and you no longer have to endure the hardships of training. All you have to do is ring the bell to get out. If you want to change the world, don't ever, ever ring the bell.
I have to shut it all out. The noise, it's loud. You have to cancel out the noise and remember that it's your thoughts that matter.
I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
This is my moment for me.
You will learn more about yourself, you'll learn more about relationships, you'll learn about life and principles, and it'll build your character.
So if you're willing to decide what you want, believe it's possible, consciously envision the future, feel the feelings of what it would feel like if you had achieved this goal, you can have anything, and then you take action.
I am the greatest.
Even though I was having these troubles at home, and even though I had no job, you know what I mean, or whatever, didn't know what I was doing. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen, but I still was able to feel like it was. Isn't it like a kid would use his imagination? I was basically just using my imagination.
Some people can see farther than others. We all live in our own world of limitations. Some people can see farther than others.
I have a big vision. I put a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice in things I do. If I don't do it, it means I don't believe in it. In this, I believe very strong, and I will not give up until I'm top of the world. So that's the way it works. You aim for the top, you don't aim for the second. Second place is the first place among the last ones, and that's not my target.
I try to do it almost every day. This is why I'm in the top level many years. Because I do it extra outside. When I'm 12 years old, most of the people told, Christian, you are a very good talent player, but you are very skinny, very slim. And I put it in my mind, the body we can improve. You can improve. You go to gym, dedication and hard work, you can improve. So I will improve myself.
A lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. And truly believe in it. If you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction, and it will become reality.
I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience.
You think things are gonna just go your way? Well, they're not gonna just go your way. You gotta make them go your way. You think things are gonna just happen for you? Well, they're not just gonna happen for you. You gotta make them happen.
You will become whatever you cultivate. Whatever you feed, that's what's gonna grow in your life. I'm saved, but I gotta change my diet. I'm saved, but I gotta change who influences me, who speaks into my life, who leads my mind, who determines what looks good on me, who determines what I can do and who I am. What's wrong with you is all those people who knew you win, because if they knew you win, they'll hold you to back then. I gotta go.
Because whatever you identify as the source of your stress determines what you consider the source of your peace. And that's why I don't like to blame people for my stress. Because if people brought me the stress, then I need people to change for me to have peace. But I'm past the point in my life of wanting for people to have to act a certain way, for me to have peace in my own heart.
Wisdom, like the learning capacity of the human brain, is infinite. There will always be more to know, and there will always be plenty of room in your brain for everything you learn. Life is a paradise, really, if you're a person who genuinely wants wisdom. We all want to be successful, and I'm certainly in favor of that, but I've known some people who literally wanted all the money they could get. Not what the money could buy, but the money itself. Wanting all the money in the world is like wanting to know all there is to know in the world. Except the man who wants all the money is miserable. He'll never get it all, and he'll never think he has enough. Even if he had rooms filled with $1,000 bills, he'd still want the next man's nickel. And he'd be in pain about that, filled with envy about it. The man who wants wisdom also wants to look back over his shoulder at the other guy, but he just wants to see what the other guy is reading. And if the other guy is reading a book he hasn't read yet, he's actually happy about it. He looks forward to reading it himself. You don't have to give up something in order for me to have it. You can give me your wisdom and now I'll have it, but you still have it too. When one person shares wisdom with another, neither person is diminished. In fact, both are made wiser. Giving and taking is such a basic experience for most of us, but the whole concept of giving and taking doesn't really apply to wisdom. There's no giving and taking, there's only sharing. Unlike the other things people hunger for, wisdom is very hard to visualize. We could imagine rooms full of money, but how can you picture a room full of wisdom?
So easy. So easy to put things off. So easy to say, you're going to do it tomorrow. Well, I want you to reprogram your brain and tell yourself that tomorrow is not a viable option. You do it today. You get it done today. That's what you do.
It's not what's happening to you that's hurting you. It is the threat of what could happen to you that is stealing every good day you got. You can't enjoy the good days because the enemy is threatening you, so you don't get any peace when things are well, and you don't get any peace when things are bad. Because when things are good, you're worried about them going bad. And when they're bad, you're dealing with what bad happened, and you haven't had any rest. You've had sleep, but you haven't had rest. You're tired when you get up. You're tired when you go down. You are up under attack.
Wisdom is not a thing you can buy, or a course you can take in school, or a degree you can earn. Wisdom is not really something you can get from another person, yet you can gain some wisdom from everyone you meet. Wisdom is something a wise man always feels he needs more of. Yet the true sources of wisdom lie nowhere but within ourselves. There are plenty of people who are too smart for their own good, people who are filled to overflowing with facts and technical knowledge, but who are sadly lacking in human understanding and common sense. What is this thing you call common sense? What is this stuff you call human wisdom? What is this thing you call strong character? I've seen people who have everything you could possibly want, every object you could dream of, everything you can drive down the street or sail on the ocean or fly through the air. But on the inside, where the real person lives, they're broke. They haven't got anything. They haven't got a clue.
If you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. When you're trying, you're going to fail. You have to make sure that your dreams and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
Either you take on the shape of your environment or you resist it and transform by the renewing of your mind. Everything you've ever changed about your life started in your head. It started in your head. It started in your mind. It started with a decision. It all starts in your mind.
Now, in trying to achieve your life's goals, would you prefer to fight against this great force? Would you want to struggle against this mighty power? Or would you rather enlist this great power in your cause and make the inevitable work for you instead of against you? Time is that great power I'm talking about. Time is the mightiest force in the world, or even in the universe. Why would you ever choose to fight time when you could have time on your side? Who wouldn't want to harness the great river of time that flows through all of life? Why wouldn't you want to use the power of time to generate power in every area of your existence? To charge your every aspiration with lightning bolts of electricity? To turn the turbines of your hopes and dreams? Well, there is only one way to make time work for you, not against you. And that's with patience.
So I want to challenge you to waste no more effort wrestling with other people. Your destiny, your future is not predicated on the decision of someone else. You wasted too much of your life trying to change other people's mind about you. It doesn't matter what they think about you. God is not going to bless you by their opinion. God is going to bless you by how you see yourself.
I must be inclined that it's somebody who's holding back on a decision, holding back on moving forward, and you're holding back because of fear. Fear of being rejected, being replaced, fear of people that you want to accept you won't accept you, fear of moving out. When fear controls you, your decisions become illogical.
And because you are up under attack in your mind, in your emotions, you are lonely. No matter who you're around, no matter how many people know you, you end up alone because you are up under a private battle that you can't talk about.
Patience. There's a type of person for whom everything is undertaken out of desire to achieve a goal. They exercise in order to get in shape. They start a business in order to make money. I'm sure that some of these people are very successful, and they are certainly highly organized. A person of truly strong character sees success as an adventure, not as a point with an estimated time of arrival. Impatient thinking can lead a person into some very big mistakes. When you are always looking somewhere else, whether it's down the road or up toward the top of the mountain or off toward the left field fence, when you're looking off in the distance like that, you often miss what's under your very own nose. That means the pleasure and fun of living which come in the here and now get overlooked for something that not only isn't here yet, but might never arrive. True patience is more than just a waiting game. Patience doesn't mean you sit around hoping for something to happen. Patience is not a passive quality. Sometimes patience can mean doing something else entirely, thinking about another venture, taking off in a different direction, while you give events a chance to run their course.
You got to come up with some times in your life that you unplug from this crazy world. Turn your phone off. We live in a world today that's got us so focused on everybody else that we're comparing our life to everybody else's life, and anxiety and fear come whenever you start dwelling on the past and whenever you're afraid of the future.
The struggle is in your mind. Slept 8 hours and you wake up still tired. Your mind has been in turmoil all night long. You've been wrestling in your sleep. Your body went to sleep, but your mind is still caught up in a warfare. Your mind is the battleground.
It's strange, but young people have a much more difficult time with patience than people who have more experience in the world. It seems like the older people get, the more able they are to wait, despite the fact that sometimes they have considerably less time to wait in. You could argue that older people ought to learn how to act quickly and decisively, while younger people need to learn how to wait. When you're young, you really have just about all the time in the world, and you just can't wait to use it. For a young person to have patience is a rare and powerful thing. How can we explain that impatience of the young? Maybe it's because when you're a teenager or in your early 20s, 1 year seems like a very long time. But more mature individuals can actually look back 10 or 20 or even 30 years And they can use the knowledge they've gained to create patience and a sense of perspective.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe that my family can get better. I still believe that if I lose this job, there is another job for me. I still believe that my marriage is not over. Turn to your neighbor and say, you gotta keep your hope. Clap somebody and say, I believe. Is there anything you believe in that you'll sweat for, that you'll work for, that you'll labor for, that you'll commit yourself to? Is there anything that you love other than yourself? You can't help victims when you see yourself as a victim. You have to announce your recovery to yourself. You've got to command yourself, get up out of this hospital bed and start to moving.
Clarity. Because when you get in a storm, you become real clear of what matters and what does not. When you get in a storm, you're not trying to say, oh my God, let me get my Gucci bag. No. When you're in a storm, you get clarity as to what matters. Your priorities come into view when you're in a storm.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrificing and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself, and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life. It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly.
The rest of us must look around us for wisdom and look for it in everything we read and in everything we do and in everyone we meet. And most of all, we must look for it in ourselves, perhaps more than any other element of strong character. Wisdom is a quality that we must earn and learn on our own. Yes, wisdom is a unique component of character. If you don't have it, nobody can tell you what it is. And if you do have it, probably you'll be wise enough never to say, I'm a wise person. Part of wisdom is knowing what you lack and looking for it and asking for it. Another part of wisdom is knowing, at the same time as you ask, that there are no final answers. There are always more questions. There are always more things and people you don't now know and haven't yet heard of or seen. So you may have that retirement package. You may have the medical benefits, the pension, the Sunbelt home, and a steady income you can live on. What good is it if you're isolated? And I don't mean just physically alone. I mean isolated from a real sense of connection with what's come before and with what lies ahead. It's here that wisdom provides very real, very practical benefits. It's wisdom that provides a sense of life's value and assurance that all the effort has been worthwhile. There's no question that we must take care of our material needs, but a fulfilled life requires meaning as well as substance. Wisdom is the fruit of experience. Experience is something everyone gets if they live long enough, but not everyone knows what to do with it. Wisdom comes from seeing the world and the people in it, and from noticing patterns and connections, and from using what other people let you see of themselves in order to understand your own self.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.